from the dismal depths of the Pacific Northwest. We bring to your frontal lobe pieces, morsels, and the spare ribs of literary gothic, horror, and other weirdness from authors, musicians, filmmakers, graphic novelists, and the like.
Dr. Bean, Dr. Bean to operating room. Dr. Bean to the operating room.
Coming soon to a cemetery near you.
Grandmother tree, give her some silver, you'll get wishes 3. But never take back from the grandmother tree. A gift is a gift, and wishes aren't free.
we peer into the mind of Jude Madalich Hall, the author of the Eversteam Chronicles, as she converses with other creatives in titles, talk, and tipples.
Hi, I'm Jude Madalich Hall. This is the 1-year anniversary of Titles, Talk, and Tipples. And what better way to celebrate than with my very first guest, Suzanne Craig Whytock. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be invited back and to talk and title and tipple.
Yes. And what are we tippling on? Without using brand names, of course.
We got tippling on a very fine 12-year-old Scotch.
Yes, same here. And this 12-year-old Scotch, so it's pretty funny. I recently tried this. It was either the 14 or the 16 year, and I actually like the 12-year better, and it's cheaper than the older one.
Better bang for your buck, right?
Yeah. So cheers.
Very much. And to you. Congratulations and happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. And we have been picked up by the vivacious voodoo doll Bad JuJu and skeletal ghoul J-Bone. So Bad JuJu and J-Bone are now the production company. Well, we're here to talk about your books and what you're doing with your writing. So for those who haven't seen last year's episode, Suzanne and I talked about Feasting Upon the Bones, an anthology of short stories that she did. So we covered that a lot in the last interview we had. But so today I'd like to talk a little bit about your book, The Seventh Devil, because you have a sequel coming out.
Right. Yeah, I just finished writing the sequel. Actually, I printed off my own hard copy and just finished doing some revisions and then sent it off. And I'll be what I like to do is finish doing all my own revisions, and then I'll print off and get like 2 or 3 copies spiral bound, and then give them to some beta readers. And
Nice.
who'll really include my mom, because my mom's an incredible proofreader and she finds all kinds of stuff. She's 80 years old. She still catches things that I miss. And Ken will read a copy. My husband Ken will read it and give me feedback. And I've got a friend who's going to read it for me as well. And yeah,
Very
and
nice. There's something.
my daughter, she finds the time.
There is something special about that hard copy, right? I'm in the process of printing mine out because I like the red pen. Just
Yeah.
through and
I use a
revise it.
pencil, but still I like them. I think you catch things that you've missed when you're looking at it online, when you transfer it into a hard copy and the font's like maybe a little bit big or whatever. I tend to catch things that I missed the first time through. Or most of what I'm doing is wordsmithing, because I like to go through and kind of just tweak some of the wording and add a few things here and there if I need to, and just make it sound a little bit better.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the thesaurus?
No, I'm not really, like, not to the extent that I like use it all the time. Like I don't like to use the same word twice in one paragraph. So if I've used a word once, I'll go to the thesaurus.com and look for a better word, or just think of a different word. But I don't tend to write with that kind of sophistication. I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing I hate more than reading something that's been so heavily thesaurusized that you can't really make sense of it. It's
Sure.
just like, it kind of puts a barrier up, I think, between the reader and the writing.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to get engaged when the words are so 4-syllabic that you can't really connect with them.
Right. Yeah, so I too don't like using the same word in a paragraph,
Yeah.
And I do like using Grammarly because it'll sometimes catch like repetitive speaking.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's really fun if I'm not catching it myself.
Yeah. And it's like, sometimes I can't think of something, so I'll go to thesaurus.com and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly the word I was looking for.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Those are great tools. It's not something to definitely rely on heavily, but they're wonderful tools to help out. Because we've got a lot going on up here. So
I know. We need all the help we can get sometimes, right? Like, I'm tired. For blank.
Right. It was really funny. When I was my first novel, the kind of something like a kind of drink, or it was kind of gloomy, that the using kind in that form.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I used that so many times. It was so funny when I realized, what in the world?
Yeah, you kind of trim your prose down a little bit sometimes too, and just make it more succinct. But yeah, I mean, it's the way we talk. Sometimes I think it tends to like seep into the writing, and people more verbose than they are when they write, and so then you have to go back and pare it down a bit.
Sure.
Filler words. I have a good friend who reads for me sometimes, and he's always like, instead of saying I heard a sound, just say the sound was this. Like,
yeah.
How else were you supposed to know what you heard it? Obviously.
Yeah.
Different things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, little things like that. So tell me about the seventh devil.
Oh, the seventh devil. I was driving. Here's the story. I was driving into from my house into Kitchener one day. You don't even know where that is. Don't worry about it. But as I was driving, coming towards me on the road was a pickup truck pulling a trailer. And as it got closer, I could see in the cab there was a couple. There was a guy driving, this older guy driving, and a younger woman sitting next to him, and they looked so serious. So and all I could think is, where are they going? They're pulling a trailer. They should be really excited right now. Where on earth are they going? They look like they're going to be, going to do something really dangerous. And I'm like, well, maybe, me, you've read my stuff. Like, what's my go-to? They're going to go and exorcise a demon.
Love it.
That's where it started. That first chapter is that was where I thought they were going to go. They were going to some place to, help a guy exorcise a ghost out of his house. And it kind of just spiraled from there. And I, with the character, and I love the character and her relationship with Gareth. And so the main character is Verity Darkwood. And then, she's homeless. She's been kicked out of her house and she's homeless. And she, staggers into a bar one night trying to get away from this creepy guy in the street. And she meets Gareth Winter, an older guy who's got ghosts of his own, he's haunted by his own past. And they both realize that they can each kind of communicate with the spirit world in a different way. And they decide to start a business together. And that's where it goes from there. But along the way, they realize that kind of the thing that binds them together is the loss of, she's lost her younger sister and he's also lost his younger sister. And there's a connection between both of those disappearances and murders. And it ends up being a demon called John Barrett, the seventh devil. So most of the book, the first part of the book is kind of they're it's a little more episodic at the beginning, where they go somewhere and they exorcise a ghost or a demon, or they deal with a spirit, and then as the plot starts to unfold, the last half becomes more about them trying to track down John Barrett, the seventh devil, and they have a big battle. And
oh wow. So I have not read the seventh devil yet, but I definitely read your Feasting Upon the Bones and stuff. But so with having a sequel coming out, does the story have kind of a close in the first book, or do you leave on a cliffhanger?
You think it's closed, but then there's a little bit of an epilogue that leaves things kind of up in the air a little bit. So the second book starts kind of picks up from that point and goes from there. And
What if
I guess I had the time, I could have written it all as one big book, but
sure. Yeah, that's okay.
I wasn't even sure when I finished the first book that there would be a sequel, but then I had to brainstorm about the epilogue, and I'm like, I could write a sequel. Why not?
Oh, okay, yeah.
What else am I doing? I know.
Right. So is it a fulfilling ending with the first book? Like if
well, one of the reasons I wrote the sequel is because I got feedback from some friends that I don't want to give too much away for people who
no, that's okay. Yeah, please don't. But no spoilers.
One of the characters in it is kind of, people thought it was unfair what happened to one of the characters. And so I thought about it, thought, he really didn't get a fair shake. So the second book is kind of a redemption arc for that character.
Oh, okay.
I think a big part of that is, the main character is kind of coming to terms with their own losses, and then a bit of a redemption arc for the one character in the book. So,
very nice.
Yeah. And of course, there's more adventures with, jigsaw puzzle ghosts and different kinds of demons. And
well, ghosts and demons are always fun. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. What's
that sound?
What could that be? We're going to take a break and receive a message from the universe. See you soon. So I guess that kind of leads into my second question of telling us a little bit about the book that's coming out that you're finishing up right now. You're going to have your beta readers read it, but that's around the corner of being released. What can we expect?
I'm planning to send it to Bookland probably after Easter.
Okay.
I'll get some feedback from people, but send it after Easter because they're great. Like I can send them the manuscript and then send them 2 or 3 more revised copies.
That's good.
they have a drop dead date for like you can't make any more changes, but I'm usually at the last minute. There's one more thing.
Yeah.
So I'll send it to them after Easter and then see what goes from there. But that's the plan right now.
Yeah,
I'm really happy with it though. So I'm hoping that other people are happy with it, and it's just some minor tweaking because I'm very happy with the plot and the way that it all wrapped up. So
yeah. Well, I think that your gut instinct is probably right. If you feel that good about it, I do. I feel good about it. Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever had a story you've written 4 novels: Smile, The Dome. Yeah. Seventh Devil, and the prequel to Seventh Devil. What is the prequel? I said prequel, sequel. I'm sorry.
Oh, the sequel's called The Devil You Know.
Okay, The Devil You Know. So with those 4 novels, was there ever one that you weren't really satisfied with how it went, or you were unsure?
Yeah. It's funny because the very first book, Smile, thinking back on it now, there's a couple of scenes I would have changed. Like I would have done something else with. There's a scene there's a scene with the main character's mother, and the main character has been kind of sexually harassed by a boy at school. And when the mom finds out, she's supportive, but she's not as, I mean, now I would have been, she would have been a lot more upset now.
Yeah.
You know, that was the only thing that I wish that I had made the mom's reaction a little bit more visceral, you know, that, you know, even though I didn't want the mom to interfere and the main character sorts it all out for herself because she's a strong character, I still wish that in some way the mom had been a little bit more like, we're going to go to the police. And then the main character would have, I'm going to take care, you know what I mean? Instead of just like, well, you know, oh honey, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, I was a lot younger when I wrote, and it was kind of before the Me Too movement. And I think now, like with all of that happened, I would have wanted the mom to be a little bit more, you know, and still it all works at the end, you know, like it's a good book, and she is a strong female character, and she does take matters into her own hands and deals with it very effectively, but still like there's that moment. Otherwise I'm happy with it. And I think everything else pretty much, like I'm really happy with the dome. You know, there's not a thing about the dome I would change. I'm you know, I'm super proud of that book, and the fact that it's been translated into Arabic now, and that, you know, so what did it say? Like over 400 million people in the world speak Arabic, so it's a great market.
That's incredible. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
But the new cover, like they changed the cover, and the new cover is really cool. The original cover is the Toronto skyline, but I think, you know, they've translated it so that it can be more of a generic setting to appeal to a wider Middle Eastern audience. And so the cover now is kind of like this grid pattern of looking up at the top of a dome. It's really cool looking.
That's very cool. Yeah. Very nice.
But otherwise, no, there's nothing really I would change. I'm really, really happy with everything.
Yeah. There's like some lining up stuff that didn't, when I was reading your short story, when I was editing in the pictures.
So much fun. Oh, I loved it.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so glad. I was unsure. I was like, is this really boring? You know, like,
oh, no, it's not really how can it be boring? That's like creepy AF.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I came up with that story. I was trying to think of a last name for one of the characters in the dome. It was, I think it ended up being Malachi Storm. I can't remember his last name.
Oh, nice. It's a good name.
I was trying to come up with his last name, and I was writing down in a list like Stone, Crow, Malachi Thorn, Malachi Crow. I wrote those words all down, and I read them out, and I'm like, Stone, Crow, Karen Cross Tree. And I was like, that's a really interesting kind of phrase. Yeah. How can I incorporate that into a story? Like, who would say that? Almost like a mantra, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it said to me, oh, because he'd taken that, you know, that photograph and feasting upon the bones of the tree on the hill in the cemetery. Mm-hmm. He's like, I've come up with this line, you know, the ghost tree at the fence line. And I'm like, meet me at the ghost tree at the fence line. Where are we going to go from there? And that's how that whole story evolved, right? With the girl and the mantra. Wow. Yeah.
That's great.
It's one of my favorites, and it doesn't get as much. I can't read it at readings because it's very violent.
Yeah.
When I do some readings, like, you know, I do some with the Canadian Authors Association or the Writers Union in Canada, and it's a bit more of a violent one. So I kind of stay away from it.
It's a good one. It really is.
Yes, I'm glad you chose it, because I was like, oh, that's good.
Yeah. So we're talking about a short story called What's My Name by Suzanne Craig Whytock. I didn't know how to say your name for a second there. That will be read later on in this episode by Bad JuJu.
I love reading out loud. I love doing live readings because I find like sometimes if I'm reading something new, like trying, you know, so quite often I'll read something for the new manuscript with, you know, like a live reading, and then you'll hear it in your own head, and you're like, oh wait, that doesn't sound quite right. So it's a good way to kind of pick up on things you need to change, as well as just, you know, the cadence, speech, and all that kind of stuff. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I always read out loud. My last revision is reading out loud to myself, whatever short story or novel, you know, I'll just, I tell the household, I'm reading to myself, you know, and it is very helpful reading out loud.
It really is. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the epigraph to the, okay, try to get there we go. The seventh devil. There's the devil you know and the devil you don't. The devil you'll meet and the devil you won't. A devil that's tall and a devil that's small. And a devil that's human, after all.
Yep.
I love that.
The epigraph. And that's where I started with the new book, is I had a kind of a brainstorm for like a continuation of that little poem. And so the continuation is, I'll have to put my glasses off for that. There's a devil that sings and a devil that sighs, a devil that laughs and a devil that cries, a devil that's quick and a devil that's slow, but the worst one of all is the devil you know.
Love it, love it, love it. But that's all you, your poems and the epigraphs and all of that. That's good.
Yeah, it's all me.
Wonderful.
I do write poetry, and I have had some poetry published, but just short fiction and novels are really my
Well, and just bringing it into your own story, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Especially if you just dabble in poetry, what better way than to just bring it into your novels?
I really like books. It gives me for example, in The Seventh Devil, later on, there's a scene with them reading some poetry from a woman who's passed away, and it's actually it's so moving. I'm like, yeah, it was. Nobody gets to criticize me in my book.
There you go.
5-star reviews from my characters. So it's the best venue for your own poetry, because you get to decide how the audience receives it.
Right.
One of the things I really appreciated about working with Potter's Grove Press is that I had a cover design. I think you and I talked about it a little bit last time, but I had a cover design in mind that my daughter had created. They wanted to go in a different direction with the cover that you have there, but they very graciously agreed that, if she did 2 more pieces of kind of photographic artwork, that we would use each one for the divider sections because the Feasting Upon the Bones is divided into 3 sections. Mm-hmm. So there's a piece of artwork for each of the 3 sections, and she created all of those. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can see that artwork in the book Feasting Upon the Bones, but we'll also have it spread throughout this episode of JuJu and J-Bone Presents. So you'll get to see that wonderful artwork by Caitlin.
Yeah, Caitlin Whytock. Yeah, thanks that she got the credit.
That is really great.
Yeah, because they're really cool. And I think I told you my brother's is Mr. Death. It's
Oh my gosh, I loved that story.
He's so easy going, right? He's got a PhD. He's a senior partner in a law firm. I'm like, can you go out in the middle of the road in your best suit and just take a selfie? And he's like, yeah, all right. He didn't even ask me. By the way, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And he's that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great story. What's the name of that story? I remember the story. I don't remember the title.
Well, there's 3 of them. The Mr. Death stories are the anchor stories in the book. So there's one at the end, or one in each of the sections. So I think the first one is Mr. Death Comes to Visit, and then there's As the Crow Flies, and the last one is The Notebook, where he's in all of them. And in fact, in the last story, The Notebook, the other character that he has an ongoing bet with is actually the 7th Devil. So Mr. Death Mr. Death is a very important character in The Devil You Know. He actually makes an appearance as a character, and with his sidekick, the Portend.
It took several stops, but soon Mr. Death was kitted out, and very reasonably, too. The clerk at the shoe store got an extra 3 years, the jewelry received 2 for an exceptionally fine wristwatch, and the local optometrist upped his life expectancy by another 4 years to compensate for both a quick eye exam, to assure Mr. Death that he wasn't in the least myopic, and a pair of mirrored aviator sunglasses that Ernest insisted would add a shade of cool to the entire ensemble.
What do you get when you cross an elephant and a rhino?
I don't know. What do you get when you cross an elephant with a rhino?
Elefino.
Elefino.
You also have an anthology, another anthology on its way out. Like you're finishing it up, or does the publisher have it and it's about to come out? Tell us about that.
Potter's Grove has it right now. The first 20, because I'm aiming for 27 stories, and they have, I think, the first 20. I'm up to 24 at this point. So when I get a couple more written, I'll send them an update. But yeah, I'm almost done the follow-up, which is called Into Thin Air. So, but I'm really excited about the new anthology, the second short story collection. I'm really excited about that. I've got the anchor pieces again. The last piece in each section of 3 sections again. It's called Nomads of the Modern Wasteland.
Nice.
Yeah, really excited about that.
I like that idea of anchor stories.
Yeah, it's like at least the commonality that runs all the way through it. Yeah. But what I loved being able to take that character of Mr. Death that I created for the short stories and put him in the novel, and really kind of flesh him out as a character. So
that's great.
And there's a new Death story in the new anthology. Sure.
That's great. Yeah. I like working with Death too. You know, Death. Yeah. I have a Death character. They're more of a Grim Reaper type.
Yeah. Mine's more of a fashionista.
I like that. I like all the aspects. You know, that's great.
Like really nice suits and coconut cream pie.
Yeah, that's awesome. I realized that, man, I wish I really had made my Death character more feminine. Like, you know, that's not change my Death.
He's more of a metrosexual, I think.
yeah, you know. And I think like I did a he, and then right before my book came out, right before my publisher said no more changes, I was like, I need to do one more change, and I changed my Death to be it. I changed it to an it. Yeah, non-binary. Yeah, because I was like, Death shouldn't be he or she or. Yeah, so I changed it to an it, and then mine
makes the appearance, like, you know, like I said, who knows what the Reaper really is, but mine takes on the appearance of a very, very well dressed, well manicured, mirrors, sunglasses. Yeah, so you read because you read Feasting, so you know that very first story. Mr. Death comes to visit. He's like in his traditional robe, and he meets the man who's like, 20 more years, and I'll take you to my tailor.
Yeah. I love it's such a great story. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So if you haven't read Feasting Upon the Bones, you must read Feasting Upon the Bones, as well as the Seventh Devil and The Dome and Smile. Yeah.
That's a great bell. I love it.
Yeah. That's the tolling of the bell. We must.
We know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls.
Yeah. The time is nigh to end this wonderful talk that I've had with Suzanne.
I talk to you forever. You know
God, I know. And of course we can talk a little bit, you know, once we wrap up. But I want to be sure I cover all ground before we head out. So tell us where people can find your stuff, your website, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, all of my books from Bookland, so Smile, The Dome, The Seventh Devil, you can find them on Amazon. If you're in Canada, Chapters Indigo, as well as alllitup.com, which is the main distributor. And then Potter's Grove, of course, is on all the Amazons. Plus, if you go to the Potter's Grove Press website, you can get the ebook, you can get the paper, order all the different versions of it that way too. Yeah, so
wonderful.
Yeah, available everywhere where fine books are sold.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have a blog.
I do. It's my dang blog. It's http it's educationalmentorship.com, because I started it when I was teaching and I was mentoring a younger teacher, and I set up the blog for us to communicate back and forth with. And then when that mentorship ended, I still had the blog, but I was stuck with the name. Yeah. So if you ever go to my blog, although it's called educationalmentorship.com, I don't do any kind of educational mentoring.
I'm not so sure about that.
Maybe not the kind of education you think. It's strictly a humor blog. It's absurdist humor. Very different from my writing. My writing is very dark and very twisted, but my blog I try to be funny.
Yeah.
I try because people have hard lives and things can be really crappy sometimes. So I try to make my blog a place where you can go and you're always going to get a laugh. It's not serious. It's fun. Oh yeah.
And it is. It makes me laugh every time. I love it. And it's super easy. If you type in my dang blog, Suzanne's blog will show. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You don't have to remember all that educational stuff.
No.
My dang blog.
That's what it is. It is my dang blog. I've been writing now since 2014. I've been writing that blog. And I only post once a week. But I always try to come up with something funny for Sunday morning to give people a bit of a laugh and have a break from some of the things that are going on out there.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So if you want something dark, you can read my stories. There you go.
Yeah. I have you do the extra. But before that, I want to ask you a very serious question, like probably the most important question of all.
Better drink some more scotch before I get to that.
So let's
ready for seriousness.
Okay. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, my favorite dinosaur is probably, I really like Stegosaurus, but I'm going to go Diplodocus because I like the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I've always named Diplodocus, and I think they're omnivores. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like T-Rex are cool, I love T-Rexes, but no, I like the more slow lumbering dinosaurs.
Okay. So are there any characteristics about this dinosaur that you could tell us about? Like long neck?
Yeah, Stegosaurus has those great bony plates all along the back ridge, and they've got the tail with the spikes. Like, it's pretty intimidating, right? Like, don't mess with the Stegosaurus.
Right.
Diplodocus, it's like they're just gentle. They've got a really long neck. They're kind of like your modern day, or not, kind of like what a modern day giraffe is, right?
Okay, yeah.
With a long, graceful neck, and they lumber
kind of like a brontosaurus, maybe. Do they have or a brachiosaurus? Do they have the nostrils on top of their head? And
I don't know about nostrils on top of their head. I just remember as a kid being absolutely obsessed with dinosaurs and seeing the name we thought for a long time it was Diplodocus, but it turned out it was Diplodocus. So
oh yeah, I probably would have still said Diplodocus.
Yeah.
Diplodocus.
Well, Diplodocus, yeah, because they plod along. But
right.
Yeah, I've always really liked dinosaurs. I really like oh god, what are you?
Oh yeah, the pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls.
Or wait, there's a few. There's a couple. There's pterodactyls and there's pterodons, maybe.
Yeah, pterodons and pterodactyls. I think they're like a beautiful combination of a graceful bird and a bat.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, I think. Yeah, but it's too bad we'll never see a real one. So.
Oh, maybe that's not too bad though, because they're really big.
Somebody was re-genetically engineering dodo birds, so you never know. Maybe we'll have a real Jurassic Park situation.
Don't worry about the pandemic. We're going to be running for our lives from T-Rex.
Hey, if you got to go, it might as well be exciting, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for asking for the dinosaurs.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'm going to have you take us out.
Oh, cheers to us, Jude. Yes. This has been a wonderful episode of Title Talk Tipples with my friend Jude Mitchell Hall. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and cheers to all of you.
Yeah, cheers. The children were buried all in a row, the grave markers lined up like tiny, jagged teeth, some a little taller than the others, but all very small. At the end, slightly removed from the sad queue, one tombstone towered above the rest.
story is by Suzanne Craig Whytock, the author of Feasting Upon the Bones, as well as many other stories. It's called What's My Name? Meet me at the ghost tree by the fence line. Jonah came, his breath frosting the air, just as I knew he would. I explained what I needed him for this time, and he sighed the way he always did, half angry, half tired, and all in, just as I knew he would be. When's it gonna end, Sabine? He asked me. It's almost done, I said. Stone, crow, thorn, claw, cairn, cross, truth. I was 16, the lights were flashing, I was dancing, and Jake and that damn Damien were leering. Everyone at the party thought Damien was cool because he'd come from England and had an accent. It wasn't posh though, not like the Queen. He was common, no better than the rest of us. There was something in my drink. You're too close, I said, my words drowning in the lights, and I slapped their hands away, but Damien grabbed my arm. Stone, crow, thorn, claw, cairn, cross, truth. It wasn't so much about what happened then, but what happened after. It was pouring salt into a wound. That's what my nan would have said. Because they had pictures, and pretty soon everyone had seen them, everyone was calling me Slutine, and I couldn't remember a thing except Jake and Damien leering. I started cutting myself with a razor blade and speaking my secret words until I couldn't see their faces anymore, obliterating them with pain. But it wasn't permanent, it wasn't enough, and it needed to be forever. Then one day I was at the park with my little sister Maeve, and we were getting ice cream from the truck. The ice cream man smirked, and I ignored him, but behind us in the line, a couple of boys started pointing and yelling, "Slutine! Hey, Slutine!" and laughing like they thought I'd never heard anyone say that before. I ignored them too, but when Maeve looked up at me all confused and asked, "Why are they saying Slutine? That's not your name." And I realized she was right. It wasn't my name. I wanted my name back. Stone, crow, thorn, claw, cairn, cross, truth. Later I went back to the park and wandered around in the quiet. I started imagining what I would do if I saw one of those boys again, pointing and laughing and calling me Slutine. I imagined that I would tell him to follow me somewhere private, and then I would knock him down and kick him hard. And when he was lying on the ground sniveling, I would say, "What's my name?" And I would speak my secret words out loud, kicking him with each one until he said Sabine. And when he finally did say it, I would kick him one last time in the teeth and leave him lying there crying and bleeding. And the thought, just the thought of doing that made me feel better than any razor ever could. So I made a decision, and here we are. It's been hard, but I've been making headway, thanks to Jonah. Stone, crow, thorn, claw, cairn, cross, truth. Jonah's my half-brother, different mothers, father long gone. Mama said Jonah was simple, but that wasn't true. Jonah lives over in Pavetown, where Jake and them were from. Jonah went to school with Jake. He suffered too because he was quiet and didn't want to be part of Jake's crew. Didn't want to do all the stupid shit that Jake and them thought was funny. When that Damien came along, it only got worse. So when I told Jonah what I wanted, he didn't argue. Tonight was the end of it. We did Jake first because I wanted Damien scared. Wanted him to know that it was coming for him like it came for Jake. Jonah pretended it was all part of those games he likes to play where you're a knight or an assassin or something, because he wouldn't have much stomach for it otherwise. Sometimes he even called it his quest, but I don't judge him for it. He has secret words too, and he knows my name. Stone, crow, thorn, claw, cairn, cross, truth. Jonah had warned them, put them on notice, but they were too stupid to understand. Maybe they didn't care. Or maybe they knew they deserved it all along, laughing the way they did. But oh, how they screamed later. Damien was still screaming, "Sabine, your name is Sabine!" Teeth peeking through the gash in his cheek when Jonah brought the rock down on his head that last time. Then we threw him and Jake into the hole that we dug under the ghost tree by the fence line and covered it all with the rest of the rocks. Someone will start missing Jake and Damien soon. It won't be hard to find them because I carved their names onto a wooden marker with my razor blade. I left it there on top of the marker because I don't need it anymore. I'll probably go to jail, but I'll say it wasn't Jonah's fault, that I made him do it. They'll come to my door looking for me, but when they do, they'll ask for Sabine, and I'll smile, the scars on my arms fading like those faces. Stone through the window, crow dead on the porch, thorn a knife in the side, claw a hook through the face, cairn built for the bodies, cross on the graves. Truth, what's my name? If you enjoyed that story by Suzanne Craig Whytock, you can check out her weekly blog at mygameblog.com. She is one heck of a funny lady.